Hello everybody and welcome back to another new vlog. Starting another walk in the Malvern Hills again today. I'm currently at the foot of Black Hill, which is quite near to Herefordshire Beacon. Herefordshire Beacon is just along this path and across the main road and a little way over in that direction, which you can't see at the moment from where we are. But as I get higher up into the hills, you'll be able to see that a little bit later. So I'm heading northwards now from Black Hill up towards Worcestershire Beacon. I don't know whether I'll actually get to the top of Worcestershire Beacon. I may decide to cut the video a little bit early and come off at somewhere like Perseverance Hill, but we'll see how we get on today. Ladies and gentlemen, that there behind me, over in the distance somewhere, is Herefordshire Beacon. On the way up this slope that I've just walked up to get this far, about halfway up, I decided I was going to try and take a photo of Herefordshire Beacon at 35mm with the 14 to 35, which you've got on the camera there. And I took that shot at 35mm. I like the shot, really like the shot, and I've already shown it to you now. But I just think it may be a little bit too far away. So what I'm going to do here instead is I'm going to come back to you and take the 14 to 35 off the front of the camera. I'm going to put the 100 to 400mm lens on. I'm going to try and shoot that at 100mm. I'm also a little bit further up the hill now from where I was, so there's slightly more distance, which means that Herefordshire Beacon looks as though it's a little bit further away still. So 100mm might well be perfect for this shot. I'm going to give it a try anyway. Hope you like this image. So I've already just nearly taken a tumble. I wish you guys had seen that on film. Basically, I've just come down from the top of what I believe is Black Hill, having taken that picture of Herefordshire Beacon. It was shot at f5.6, 1/320th of a second, ISO 100, and I zoomed into 113mm. That's 113. So that's slightly further in than I thought I would have to, but it just worked out perfectly at that focal length. And I was focused on the top of Herefordshire Beacon, simply because there were, first of all, a couple of people at the top of there that you might just be able to pick out in the image, but also because the beacon itself was what I was talking about, and that's what I wanted to photograph. In the background, just to the right and slightly behind Herefordshire Beacon, you can also see Millennium Hill in that picture. And between the two hills there, Herefordshire Beacon and Millennium Hill, they formed what was once a Roman hill fort. And you can see it's a Roman hill fort by all the different trenches that are dotted along the side of each of those hills. And they were there for the Roman warriors to basically keep a lookout over all of their land in the area from the sides of those hills, and to make sure that they could get messages to one another via each of the different hills. And that's what really and truly Herefordshire Beacon was all about. So I'm just heading up this bad boy next, and in all fairness, it doesn't look all that much higher than the one that I've just come down. So it shouldn't be too difficult. It'll take a little bit of climbing because it's quite steep from this side, but I should be able to make it to the top of there at least. And then obviously getting down the other side, there's a very good chance I could end up on my arse again. So we'll see how this one goes. So here I am at the top of Pinnacle Hill. That's the next one after Black Hill. It hasn't taken me very long to get here actually. I'm making really good time. From the top of Black Hill, where I took that photo of Herefordshire Beacon, I've walked down Black Hill, recorded a couple of pieces of video footage for you, and then also climbed up Pinnacle Hill, which is where I am now, and it's only taken me about 20 minutes. So that's quite good. But behind me, you'll notice this hill here is actually Jubilee Hill, and to get to that I don't drop very far from the top of Pinnacle Hill before I start climbing back up. So That should be a fairly easy one to get up to as well. But I don't know how well you can see in the background, just jutting out just there behind Jubilee Hill, you'll see Worcestershire Beacon. Now at this angle and from this distance, it doesn't look very high, but I can tell you as I look at it from here myself, it's virtually twice the height of where I currently am. So whether or not I'll get up there is another matter, but like I said, I am making quite good time, so there may be some good omens here today. But I've discovered a shot just over here which I rather like. This view over the edge of Pinnacle Hill out towards Worcestershire and Herefordshire. That's a beautiful, beautiful view, that is. There's a lot of fields, a lot of trees and a lot of greenery going on there. But you notice it is still very, very misty as well. And every now and then that mist kind of breaks up a little bit and gives us some sunlight. Hence the sun hat on my head. Because it is still quite warm. It is late August, so we've still got some quite warm temperatures to contend with. But I'm going to stop here and take this photo, but before I do, there's a bit of a rocky outcrop that I'm standing on just here, and I want to capture some of that in the foreground of the image, so you get a bit of a foreground interest that leads you then into the background behind it. Hopefully this will work, and I hope you like the image. So that last image, ISO 100, f16 and 1/30th of a second, and I was very, very low down. I actually got the tripod out and stood it up, but didn't extend any of the legs of the tripod, so it was just at the lowest point it could be at, and I was focused very much on those rocks in the foreground. These hills are basically made up of a huge slab of limestone, and for me the rocks in the foreground themselves were more interesting than the background image, even though the scene in the background was very beautiful. So at f16, and because I was quite close to the rocks themselves, the rocks were in focus, but also the background was falling out of focus, which was quite good. It wasn't completely out of focus, and you can tell pretty much what's going on behind it. So you still see the beauty of that background, but it was the foreground that I was more interested in. My memory card ran out of juice just then. Just as I was about to tell you, I'm heading up now to Jubilee Hill, which won't take very long. I've come down from Pinnacle Hill, where I was taking that last photo of those beautiful limestone rocks and looking out over to the scene behind it. So I'm going to head up to Jubilee Hill and see what I can find up there. But this again is slightly higher than Pinnacle Hill, so this could be an interesting climb up as well. But again, it shouldn't take me too long, as I've not dropped very far from the top of Pinnacle Hill before I start heading up Jubilee Hill. So we'll see what happens when I get there. So this is Jubilee Hill. I've just walked a few yards from the actual peak of Jubilee Hill, because there's a couple of people standing there basically looking over the scene themselves, and I can't really talk about exactly what I want to do while they're stood there, in case they interrupt me or I interrupt them in some way. But as I turn around, you'll notice something very interesting. You now get the full majesty of Worcestershire Beacon to the north of here, which I am thinking seriously that I might be able to get up there today. It's a very strong possibility. But before that, I don't know how well you can see, just in the foreground you've got Perseverance Hill to overcome, and there's also another slightly smaller hill as you look from here towards Worcestershire Beacon. There's a slightly smaller hill just in front of Perseverance Hill, and I've never really known what that is. So if anybody's got any idea what it is, please let me know in the comments below. I don't think there's a photo here, unless I get the 100 to 400mm lens out again and take a shot of Worcestershire Beacon from here, which is a possibility. Could be quite a nice image actually. I might have to try and get Perseverance Hill in the foreground as well with that one. So I think that's made my decision for me. I'm going to take that photo and then I'll move on. I'm now at the top of Perseverance Hill. I don't know why they call it Perseverance Hill. I like to think that if you've walked from either the northern end, the other side of Worcestershire Beacon, or from the southern end from before Herefordshire Beacon. By the time you've got here, you've had to persevere with all the other different hills in between. That seems a likely possibility, but like I say, I don't know for certain if that's the real reason. While I was at the top of Jubilee Hill, I took a photo looking out towards Worcestershire Beacon with Perseverance Hill in front of it, if you remember. That image was taken f5.6 ISO 100, sorry, f16 ISO 100, and a shutter speed of 1/40th of a second. I did actually take two either side as well, 1/30th and 1/50th of a second. I can't decide which of those I prefer, so I'll have a proper look when I'm doing the processing later. But I made a very interesting observation about that shot as well. It was also shot at 113mm. Now obviously there's no golden rule about 113mm, otherwise everybody would be using it. I think it's just a total coincidence that I happened to be the right distance away from my subjects on each occasion, that was the correct focal length. Anyway, it doesn't matter now. While I was there, I was focused on a tree at the top of Perseverance Hill. And I don't know if you can see it, not this one here, but this one just here, just over the brow of the hill. And I focused on there because I wanted Perseverance Hill to be fully in focus. I didn't mind about Worcestershire Beacon in front of me being slightly out of focus in the background, because obviously you can tell what that is and you can see the majesty of it, like I said earlier. So I was concentrating more on Perseverance Hill, and in particular that tree just there, which I was looking at from the other side. I almost chose this tree to focus on, but I didn't think it worked quite so well. So I'm going to take a picture of this tree now because it looks lovely on the side of Perseverance Hill here. So I'll stop here and take this shot, and then I'll move on. So I've made it so far almost to the summit of Summer Hill, which you can see just here behind me. This is where Summer Hill is, but also then a little bit further behind me, up this path, and a little bit further up behind that tree, there's the summit of Worcestershire Beacon. There's a very good chance I'm going to make it up there anyway. I think you can just see it just there in the distance. There's a very good chance I'm going to make it up there anyway, but I've just noticed that my wireless microphone has gone to a red light, which means it's just about out of gas. So I'm going to call it quits here for today's vlog. If you've enjoyed it, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, because that really helps the channel grow going forward. And I hope you enjoy these images. I'll try and take a few more before I get to the top of Worcestershire Beacon, and you can see those as well at the end of the vlog. So thanks for watching, and until the next time, bye for now.